So he will be discussing how makers can earn money by creating and selling digital products. So we will be inviting Sir Ajay Verma, from a software engineer, and he will be sharing his innovation with us.
I don't know if you've ever done it. But yeah, it's great to meet someone, I guess, successful making a machine. That's looking for successful. Very, well, I think this is they're still working on the machine. Minimum than I think it's the trouble of having materials engineers come to this one. I think saving the challenge to pero I'm looking forward to yung level. Tapos maybe I can connect with you then. It's easier naman at least Q&A for the same something. Thank ano ba na kami kasabi sa
Hi everyone. In this talk, we will discuss how makers can earn with digital products. I will tell you the story of one design and what I learned from it. So, a little information about me. I'm Ajay Verma. I was born in Soviet Union, but I have been a digital nomad for the last 15 years. I am a software engineer in a Canadian startup. I work 100% remotely. And I spend most of my free time and money on DIY projects. So some of my projects are a little bit crazy, like this gravitational anchor I made from a piece of wood, some old CDs and drone parts. I also build different communication systems and automatic training devices for dogs. And although these projects are fun to work on, the only thing I learned from them is that being a maker can be an expensive hobby. And at that time, I already owned a 3D printer, but I started to dream about having a CNC machine because 3D printers felt too small for me and not that useful. So I wanted to make something bigger, so I was dreaming about having a CNC machine, but unfortunately I couldn't afford one just for fun. I needed a justification, financial justification to buy one. So I made a deal with myself. If I find a way to make money with a CNC machine, I will start building one for myself. And because I didn't know how to 3D design at that moment, I purchased this vector file on Etsy. It costs just 100 pesos. And with the help of FabLab, I managed to cut the first sample without even owning a CNC machine. So the final product looked better than I expected, and I showed it to some resort and hotel owners, and they were all very interested in buying such furniture, but they required them in bulk. So the minimum order was like 10, 20 pieces, and they wanted them look all the same, which is not that easy if you're making it with a manual labor. So I decided to start building my CNC machine. So the first thing I did is I printed this MP-CNC, which stands for Mostly Printed CNC Machine. All the black parts are 3D printed and the rest is just off-the-shelf components. And it was a great machine to learn about CNC. And I showcased this machine and the chair on the previous event like this in 2019, I think. And around the same time, I completed a digital course. It's an online Coursera course, CAD and digital manufacturing. It doesn't use SolidWorks, but Fusion 360 instead, because I chose Fusion 360 because it's free. And it's also powerful. It has simulation in every aspect that is needed to create a program for a CNC machine or a 3D printer. So, as I said, it's free, it's available, but if you want the certificate, it costs some money. I think it's around 4,000 pesos or something. And I highly recommend this. Took me 5 months, I think. And with the skills I learned from the course, I started to develop my own designs and apply them. But the MP CNC machine was not very consistent and not fast enough for a B2B bulk manufacturing business. So, and I was still not able to afford a bigger CNC machine, so I decided to upgrade the existing machine part by part. With every salary, I was buying some pieces, and so the first upgrade was the table. And the second thing I bought is this very powerful spindle. It was 2.2 kilowatt, and I realized that it was an overkill. I already downgraded to 1.5 kilowatt because that one was 8 kilograms, which was too much for this machine. So after a couple of months, I bought an aluminum extrusion kit, and I transferred everything to the new frame. It was smaller but much more rigid and much faster. And after another couple of months, I finalized the electronics. So I finally had a capable working CNC machine with a decent 4x4 feet workspace, which is exactly half sheet of plywood. These upgrades costed me around 100,000 pesos, but the amount was spread in 6 months, so it was bearable. I started to work hard on designing my own version of a leisure chair. I had some feedback from the hotel owners, and they wanted the armrests, and so as you can see, I added those. And then suddenly the pandemic started, and most of my clients were lost because the hotels closed, the resorts were closed. So I had to make a new plan. So I created a website. I'm a software engineer. My specialty is online payments. So for me, building a website that sells something I can do 5 of those per day. So I created a website and I uploaded my chair to it, and I subscribed to all the communities where people who are interested in such things are communicating, and I advertised my files there, and I had 4 sales. So that was after like 1.5 years of hard work. I had 4 sales only, but I got very valuable feedback because most of the site visitors, they wanted to buy this, they wanted to make this, but their machines, they were too small. The workspace was not compatible with some of the longest parts of the chair. So I went back to Fusion 360 and I split some of the parts of the chair in 2. So I made this longest part made of 2 parts, and also the armrest has this seam. And so all the files were neatly placed in a pattern that anyone can use as they want. So if they have a machine with this workspace, they take 2 tiles. If they have 4x4 machine, they can take the whole 4 pieces. And if they have a small machine, they can take only 1 piece and then cut them one by one. So I uploaded these files to my website and made another announcement. And I sold at the price of 1,000 pesos for the file. I sold it more than 100 times in the first 2 weeks. So this is the first version of the file when I made it focusing on the seaters, on those who will be sitting, and I was really concerned about the backrest shape and things like that, about the looks. But that was not what my customers were concerned about. They really wanted the design to fit in their machine. So this is when I started to listen for feedback from my customers. And to this moment, I earned more than 130,000 pesos just by selling the file, without selling any chairs. So it paid for the machine fully, and I can now even upgrade my machine further because I know the sales will continue. And another interesting thing, I also started a Patreon account, and surprisingly, I got, at the highest moment, I got only 6 patrons, but they were paying around 1,000 pesos monthly. So that was weird for me. People were sharing money just to promote what I'm doing, and with some taxes and stuff like that, it was around $100 per month. But then, why it goes down is because of the COVID, and I'm a foreigner, and Philippines locked their borders, so I had to leave the country, and I was not able to go back. So there was a 1.5 or 2 years gap in this business, and when you don't post, those people leave, and people stop buying my files if I don't, if I'm not active in my social accounts. So one main thing I understood is that you need to be really active in your social media. You have to have Instagram, TikTok if you're a millennial or something, and Facebook and YouTube, and you have to document everything and share it as you go, even if it's a fail. I noticed that people like failures, other people failures. So you should share everything, and that will even bring more value to your product. If people will see how many times you failed and then you delivered some good design, then it's more valuable for them. And so the feeling I had in those 2 weeks changed me internally. Selling digital products feels different from any other earning because the labor has already been done and the products are shipped to customers automatically without any interference from me. It can happen when I sleep, when I eat, when I'm out, when I'm traveling. It feels almost like cheating. You just get some money for something you did 2 or 3 years ago. So this is the graph up until now. There are some sales, but it's not consistent. And this is the number of the total earning from my own website, which I don't recommend using. So in September, so yeah, this is just a picture of where I went after that. I spent 6 months in Russia trying to find a way of building my chairs there, but couldn't even find the road. So I'm now preparing the new updated version of my chair, which you can see here. It's not yet published. I polished every curve. I spent maybe 40 hours just moving the curves, so I like them. And I made it stronger, lighter, easier to fabricate. And I plan to publish this by the end of this year. Then I will announce it again, and I hope I will have another spike of sales because I now have a database of more than 200 email addresses of people who are interested in such things, and I can send them a coupon, and I hope they will use it. So, lessons learned from designing this chair. Use FabLab to verify your ideas. Don't invest everything you have in some idea that is questionable. Use FabLab machines, and in fact, you don't even need your own machine to develop a digital product. You need one to manufacture the products, but if you're just developing and designing a digital product, Fab Lab machines are better than what you can afford yourself. I mean, that shop bought, that's a huge machine, and it's a very, very good environment with all the dust collection and stuff. So just use Fab Lab at first, or maybe even for all your designs. Then find a community with a problem. So I joined all the communities of home CNC machine owners, and all of them, most of them, wanted to justify buying this machine financially to their wives. So it's really difficult to convince your wife to buy something that costs like a car and only produces dust. So they all wanted to earn money, but the machines are so small that they were all stuck with engraving stuff. So some guy, he found out that if you engrave an American flag, you can sell it for $800. And so that's what they do. It's a community with 50,000 people who post 14 flags per day or 20 flags per day, and that's all they do with their CNC machine. And so I found the community, I found the problem, and the problem of cutting out flags is that they have to be unique. They always put a name or a logo or something, and the CNC machine is good in repeated work. So one file, you cut it many, many times. So I wanted to give them a file that they can cut for their customers without adjusting the files every time. And it is useful. It's not hanging on the wall. It's doing its purpose, and it's very comfortable. So that was my solution, not for people who want to sit on their terrace, but for CNC owners who want to get some extra cash from their machines. So learn a new skill if needed. So at first I purchased the files, but I tried to edit those and it was a disaster. So I had to spend 5 months studying a new skill specifically to be able to design something similar. And it took a long time, but now I have zero problems in transferring the shapes in my mind to the software. I can do it in no time. In fact, if I want to design this chair from scratch in Fusion 360 right now, it'll take me maybe around 17 or maybe 27 minutes. I don't know, less than 30 minutes definitely. So it is very quick if you have the shapes in your head. So it's very important to acquire skills. I mean, if you have a business, if you are selling machines or if you're selling some products, it makes sense to delegate as much as possible to people who are good at it. But if you are a one-person business with designing digital products, it makes sense to learn everything yourself. Learn how to make websites, learn how to make a graphic design, learn how to write, and how to edit videos for your channel. So learn new skills. Then offer your solution to the problem and get feedback as early as possible, because you may not value the same priorities as your clients are. So it is okay to publish unfinished products on the early stage. You can even name it alpha or something. The current version of the chair that is sold is version 0.5.2, so it's not even version 1. This is version 0.8, so it's not final yet. Be more socially active. It's difficult for us IT geeks, but just do it. Just step out of your comfort zone once a week at least and do something socially active. Create more products. I have a full-time work. I just don't have time to do this full-time, but if I could, imagine if I had 10 different furniture items. And I have some coming, but the income will multiply. It's not like a person comes to your store and chooses one item. No, if a person comes to your store and he sees that you have 7 items, most probably he will buy them all. And you can also make a bundle, like buy all with a 50% discount or something like that. So more products you have, more income you have, more closer you are to passive income. Share the progress as you go in your social media. It's same, documents, sharing, that's all. In 2022, social media is the main marketing. It's like a gasoline for a car. You have to do it. You have to, otherwise you're just pushing your car yourself. So another advice is use Etsy from the start, and I will show you. So in September, I published my file on Etsy, and this is September, October, November. So the trend is very promising. The December is not yet done, that's why the number is low. But it's already 8,000 pesos and it's steady, and I didn't do anything to promote my files there because Etsy does that for you. And in fact, you can apply for paid marketing in Etsy. So you will pay them so they promote you first. And I didn't do it yet because I want to publish the new design first, and then I will apply for the marketing campaign. And after that, it's supposed to grow even higher. So use Etsy. Etsy is a perfect platform for such products, and you don't need to pay anything upfront. They will charge you from your sales. So I wanted to share some other files that people sell. So this guy is selling router table plans. It's not for CNC. You can cut it on the CNC machine, but you can cut it manually also. He sells it for $6 and he has 2,850 sales already. Some people, they price their files higher, so it's up to you what price you select. If you want to create a feeling of a premium product, you may want to raise the price, but he has less sales, but it's still $11,000. And it's not only about woodworking. This is an example of sewing pattern, and this shop has 15,000 sales at $12. I can't even calculate how much is it. And my wife is buying those patterns, and she's sewing stuff from Etsy, no problem. So if you're into clothes, you can do that. Another category of files that sell well is STL files for 3D printing. So this is an example of some mold housings. So when you put silicone to make a mold, you can use some plastic bottles or something, but you can also print those. Those are very convenient. $18, 3,000 plus sales. So steps if you want to create your digital product. Again, I can't help stressing this out. Find an active community first. If you will, for example, publish files of how to make your own gravitational anchor, no one will buy it because no one even understands what's that, and no one needs that. So first, find a community and try to become a part of it. Avoid toxic communities. There are some communities that are toxic. Find a welcoming community and become a part of it. So you need to be interested in things that you do. And then once you engage with the community for a couple of weeks or a month, you will notice that there are some pain points in every community. There are some problems that are appearing every week, every 2 weeks. People are asking how to do this, how to do this, that. So you need to detect those pain points and then research, study, experiment, iterate, find the solution to the problem. It may not be perfect, but if it does better, it's okay already. So document the whole process, what you do to eliminate that problem. And then publish zip archive on the Etsy. Include PDF files, Excel spreadsheets, images, videos. You can include that all in a zip file and just upload it to Etsy and start selling. And then let as many people as possible to know about your solution. That's the key, because more people know about your solution, more sales you will have. That's a very, very straight correlation. And if it didn't work, repeat. This design is, I can't even count how many things I did before this, how many projects I had, and maybe it's 30 plus or something. So you have to fail. We all learn from failures, and even some people say that fail stands for first attempt in learning. So if it didn't work, repeat, and someday you will find your product. And now I will showcase a couple of projects that I'm working on right now, already with an idea of publishing it as a digital product. So this is my foldable desktop PC. It has the most powerful hardware you can put in a desktop, but it still fits in a hand carry backpack while having 3 monitors. So this is my main computer at home and in my travels. This is how I deploy it in Airbnb. I designed some mounts and some foldable things. They are 3D printed, but I want to make them. I'm learning welding specifically for this project. And this is my idea of creating a sliding scaffolding set, also cut in CNC machine. And then 2 people can fill it in with concrete, then lift a little bit. There are special sticks that you can use to lift the scaffolding. Actually, if you see how people build towers, concrete towers, that's what they use. So I want to give this scaffolding for rent to people who can fill it in with concrete and weight and lift, and then they tip over the whole structure, and they get this very strong, typhoon-proof as carcass for their own house. They can build front wall and back wall, or maybe put a glass, but this will be, hopefully, it will cost much less than a container. You know, many people use containers for modular housing, but those still cost 150,000 pesos, and they have a lot of downsides, like the insulation, the noise, the difficulty of cutting the windows and stuff. So maybe this one will be also a digital product. The problem is that I don't have a space to deploy such a big project, because tipping over this thing, it could be 7 or 8 tons, so I need a lot for experimenting with this. If anyone has a lot for rent or something, let me know so I can continue with this project. And that's the end of my presentation. This is the website where I sell my files. Thank you. And my Facebook and other contacts related to furniture only. If anyone wants to make friends, if anyone needs help in building their own CNC machine or 3D printer or something like that, message me and let's connect. Let's work on projects together. I'm always open to interesting projects that involve motors, lasers, and stuff like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Ajay. Ayan. AJ. Hirap. AJ. Ayan, no? So, again, let's give Sir AJ another round of applause for sharing his work sa atin. So maybe later you can visit this our display, or Sir AJ's display, mamaya, and you can see how yung design and all that materials. You can ask him later din sa ating open forum if you have more questions with his presentation. All right. Thank you, Sir AJ, for that wonderful sharing. Okay pa po tayo lahat?
Okay pa.
Okay pa, ayun. So, hindi kami nag-stick actually sa 15 minutes na ano namin, no? Kasi ganun tayo.